things had gotten eventful and crazy. Came into the dog park and noticed the air conditioner on top of this building was smoking, so I went in and told them, and hopefully they got it shut down. And then we were sitting in the dog park and I heard a whole bunch of what sounded like shots, very rapid. It's like they came from this direction over here. I thought maybe they were coming from the highway. And yeah, when I heard them, I didn't know where they were coming from, where the bullets might go, so I was hiding behind a tree over here. I don't know, everything appears normal. It could have been just some fool firing a gun up in the air. I believe it was a gun. I don't think it was firecrackers. Or who knows, it could have been people shooting at each other or people shooting at somebody on the road. Now the funny thing about gunshots is people think they'd be really, really loud, but they're not really that loud when you're at a distance from them. But they're kind of distinctive from the sound of fireworks, because fireworks are kind of like rapid fire often, or singular or whatever, but gunshots have kind of a pace. It's, other than this building here is collapsing. Looks like they're bringing it down the rest of the way. Or maybe it just collapsed. This is part of the collapse. No, I don't see any police activity or anything. Out talking like they're looking around, like they heard it too, wondering what it was or where it was coming from. Well, traveling down the National Old Trails Road, which here in Kansas City is Broadway, and it heads east, either at Truman Road or US 24. I'm not sure if that's, depending on the alignment, I've seen it on different maps that way. And here is the intersection that I believe the crossroads derives its name from. National Old Trails Road, which is what I'm on, and the Jefferson Highway, which is Southwest Boulevard. And of course, ironically, National Old Trails Road is an east-west road running from essentially Times Square in New York to Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles. And the Jefferson Highway is a north-south route running from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans, Louisiana. In New Orleans, there's a marker erected in 1917 for the Jefferson Highway. On the National Old Trails Road, you can find Pioneer Mother markers dedicated to the pioneering spirit of the women of the road who endured a lot to bring people, their families, west. The National Old Trails Road is the oldest highway in the country, actually started by Thomas Jefferson to link Washington, Baltimore with the Ohio Valley. First toll road, first federal highway in the United States back in the early 1800s, and it just kept extending westward. Eventually, when it came to Missouri, it was part of the Boonslick Road, which the Boone family started, and it became the Santa Fe Trail. north-south through the city. Oh, I always forget that the road is closed here. And turn around, don't drown. I always do this. So, I don't know if I'm missing the road signs or what. This is kind of a gripe. But I've seen a lot of places where there's no advance warning. All of a sudden, it's just road closed and no detour signs or anything. Like real sloppiness and inconsideration to people who have to drive around, which is all of us citizens. And, like I say, I don't know if I'm missing it here on Broadway, but I saw that yesterday on the Miriam Lane too in Kansas City, Kansas side. Like all of a sudden, without any warning, the road you're on, you're trying to get to wherever, it's roadblock, road closed. And the one place that I came to, there was no detour, no turnaround, no nothing, just closed. So anyway, I guess we'll detour up and get back on Southwest Boulevard, also known as the Jefferson Highway. What's the importance of remembering these old roads? Well, what's the importance of history anyway? I mean, I think it's important to remember these things because you need to know where you've been in order to know where you're going. It's kind of like the roadmap to the future is directly behind you. I guess some people just travel in circles their whole lives, so I guess it doesn't matter to them. I like to think that I'm trying to go in a direction, a vector. But I love exploring these old roads. And it gives you opportunity to meet people and just see what other people are doing. And it's kind of the reason why I prefer supporting a small local business versus a national chain whenever I can. Because the saying goes that with a small local business, chances are you're giving money directly to the owner, and that money is going into the mortgage on their house or their kid's college account or things like that, versus going into the pockets of a CEO who's just spending it on their third summer house. I know that's an exaggeration and a generalization because the national chains and everything, you're also supporting mom and pops who have their money tied up in investments and things like that. I don't know, you're so far removed from that, and in many cases, that really what you're supporting is another corporation, and another corporation, another corporation. You're so far removed from the chain there, I guess I could turn this down. This air conditioner really works. I know it's evening, but it's noisy, but it works really well. You actually get downright cold if you leave it running long enough. Turn it down some more. Brr. Here's it getting cold. But like these old roads and local businesses and all that kind of thing, I like to have a more direct interaction. Talk to the owner who has more tied up in that investment and more at stake. It's not always a given, but a lot of times when you do that, you meet up with people who are really nice, generally nice, and when they have so much at stake, not only does the love shine through in what they're doing, but they also are more apt to try and help you with what you're doing. I know, again, that can be overgeneralizing, because I've been to quite a few small businesses where they seem to not give a damn whether you're there or not. And I've been to some big local chains where they really train people well and have a dedication to serving people and everything, but who knows? Slow down a little here. Some people might just patiently turn in front of you. Now we're back on the National Old Trails Road again, which is generally Broadway until about, oh man, at one time I thought it was Westport Road, but that would make sense since Westport Road is Santa Fe Trail. But I don't know. It's Broadway until, I don't know. There were different alignments of it. I've seen some maps that said one thing, and I've seen some maps and descriptions that said another. There's one that it takes it all the way down to Martin City, I believe, and then it heads west from there. I've seen some that has it going more west through KCK even, and then heading southwest, and then I have some that have it following more along the course of the Santa Fe Trail. There's a group online on Facebook, National Old Trails Road group. If you're interested, you could join that and then ask questions. Well, some of them, they're better qualified to speak to it than I am. It's a couple of them who really are up on it and have followed it. Although, you know, there is one who's more local around here. And then there's quite a few. It's sort of like they're up on it, but in their area, which is fine. And, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to get it narrowed down to what your area. You know, naturally, I'm most interested in what happens in the Kansas City area, you know, Kansas and Missouri. Originally, it would have followed the old trail, which went through downtown Independence and kind of along a road called Westport Road, which parts of it still exist as Westport Road. And part of it's here in Westport up here, which was the original town that was founded in Kansas City. You know, for people to get outfitted and head southwest on the Santa Fe Trail and eventually the California and Oregon trails too. But then the merchants of Westport decided to bypass all that land traveling, which takes a lot of time, and hook up with a river port with the steamboats. This is Westport Road right here. Broadway is crossing a National Old Trails in Westport. And so people would come down south in their whichever way from the steamboats, loaded down, and then they would get outfitted with what they needed to head west. And, you know, part of it was competition. They wanted to bypass independence. And I think it would save at least 2 days of land travel, maybe 1 day. A lot of people don't realize that counties of the United States are organized in such a way that it would take about a day's travel by wagon to get from the edge of the county to courthouse. So if you had to conduct county business like signing over deeds and things like that, you could do that in a day. And that's roughly about 15 miles. So if you look at counties, they're usually about 30 miles long. But anyway, we are docked.